to Mole Confidential Season 5, Episode 2.
All right, we're back, the lovely mole world, and we have DB and Kama here today. So we have a full house. We're like that TV show. We're going to get right to your questions on episode 2. So if you haven't watched episode 2 or episode 1 of The Mole, go back. Links pop up and stuff in here to kind of send you around. Use those because you will get spoiled on episode 2. All right, so the first question we got was from someone who said Challenge 3 was not fair. I should have given them a pick instead of letting them use their bare hands. And I'll let DB and Kama give me their thoughts on this. Now, I do want to stress, DB actually is helping us with these confidentials. She is watching it like a viewer. She does not know who the mole is. She does not know any behind-the-scenes stuff. And we're keeping her shielded from that kind of stuff because up in that mansion up there, since the season's already been recorded, it's pretty much revealed all the elimination stuff. So we're trying to isolate her because it would spoil it for her. But it's nice to have the perspective of somebody who doesn't know. So,
Sorry to interrupt you, but that was challenge 4, not 3. 4 was Thanks for the Memories. That's the one they're referring to, right?
yes, challenge 4. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, challenge 4. But whatever. That's how good my notes are. So in that challenge, obviously they had to break the blocks of dirt to look at what's underneath to try to figure out matches. They were only one move away from getting points. Now, I mean, would a pick have helped them uncover more? Probably, but I think they uncovered a lot. The issue I think is we always give them time to strategize before the challenge starts, and what you saw was them strategizing. I didn't have to edit anything. I didn't cut anything out. Did they not spend enough time strategizing? I mean, they kind of talked about certain people doing quadrants. They didn't really do that. And you can see certain people definitely overlap the same areas. So did they not work effectively as a team? Probably. Was that because they were confused, stressed, worrying about the challenge or the work of the mole? Well, I mean, that's up for everybody else to decide. And we can talk about that also when we get to the reunion episode. But the challenge was definitely beatable. But they didn't work well as a group for whatever reason. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that one are.
Well, I think if they would have talked a bit more in the beginning, divide up, because they were talking about dividing it, but they never actually decided who would do what section. So I think that really would have helped. And then, the mole could have done the same, a different section, so they would have more of one rather than the other. But I think using their hand and not a pick is just fine if they would have worked together.
Yeah, there wasn't really a need for any pick or shovel or anything for them. There weren't enough dirt blocks for them to dig if they would have a shovel.
Yeah, and I think if you look too, a lot of players, some chose to not try to break as many as others. I think if you break too many, it gets to the point where you can't even keep track of them unless you're like, a brilliant mind like that guy. I would have never been able to memorize too many of them that quick. So anyway, that takes care of that question. DB has the next one.
Why don't you eliminate the first person?
Yeah, I think somebody was asking. They thought that would be or mentioned they thought that would be funny to like just have the first person walk up, and I'm like, "You've been eliminated." Well, we've done that before in quite a few seasons. Might happen this season. Who knows? All right, Kama has the next one.
All right. Why are the episodes 1 hour long? Well, there are always 2 challenges and elimination, and it all depends on how long the challenges take. Like challenge 3 was a really long one because people thought a lot, and challenge 4 wasn't really that short either because it was, you have to think about that one as well. So it's like half an hour per challenge almost. That's why it took 1 hour.
All right, so DB has the next one.
Players did not understand Challenge 3. Um, Boz did afterwards, after the challenge, he did explain how Gizmo hit his head and everything, and the blood trail getting sparser. So he did explain the challenge in the end, and in the beginning, he also explained what question they needed to answer.
Yeah, so if players were confused about that, it's got to be, again, it comes down to always, what is the confusion? Is it because they're playing confused? Because they're the mole? Because they want to act like the mole? Or are they just confused? All right, Kama has the next one.
Someone asked, why were there skeleton sounds? I don't know where exactly the skeleton sounds were, but if there were any, they were probably underground in a cave, because we're building in a normal Minecraft world, no flatlands or anything. So there could be caves under there.
So last two questions here. Boz, did you make a plugin? And we talked about this in the last confidential, and we'll get more into the plugin when it makes more sense in the next confidential. But we did talk about it after episode 1. My plugin, I wrote a plugin that does some stuff that helps us with mole, makes things easier for me and Kama, and it also makes things very much easier for me when it comes to editing certain things. But the plugin was used in both of the challenges in episode 1. You saw it used at the first challenge to actually compare the structure that the players are trying to copy. Once it saw an exact copy, it played that Ender Dragon sound. That let me and Kama know the players did it. I knew when to hit the stop on my stopwatch. So that was a big boost, not having to worry about that. Because sometimes the structures are hard to see. Every block, did they put just like a smooth stone when it should have been cobble, or one on the inside? It's harder to see. So the plugin did it for me. And I also used it on Hot Feet. So when they died, it automatically teleported them back to the next starting point and didn't let them actually die. It prevented them from getting that message that comes up saying you are dead. It whipped them back over, healed them, put out the fire, and let them keep going so that the challenge flowed smoothly. We've tried to do that before with World Edit and World Guard with some of their options for like resetting spawns, but they never worked reliably, so I did it myself. But we'll talk more about the plugin and everything for the main reason I really wrote it in the next confidential. So look, you'll understand why when you watch episode 3 coming out this Friday. All right, and the last question. And again, all these questions come from your comments, either in confidential generally or on the episode in question. In this case, episode 2. But they asked why 8 players, why so few? I think somebody said there's been so many more in the past. I think I've done 9 players. I think we've done, I don't know if it's been 9, 10, and 12.
Yep.
So why did we do 8? I mean, I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot of great applicants. A lot of people applied, but a lot of them are very young. And I always tell people I need people who can commit. A lot of people who are young can't commit to the times. And if mom and dad tell them they have to go, they have to go. A lot of people didn't have microphones, even though they applied. I don't know how they expected to play. Some of them said they can't use Mumble, they'll only use Skype. Well, that throws you off the board. So when you really looked at it, it was really tough to get 8 solid players. And that's one of the reasons you see some of the people like from our UHC battles and some of our community, because I know their gear, their hardware, and that's the best choice. Plus, I need some alternates. So, I mean, I think I had about 10 or 11 people when it was all said and done, and a couple didn't get a play this season, but I wasn't sure who was going to back out. So there's a couple people who didn't make it that'll probably make it next season. But 8 players because of the quantity. But when this season's over and we put up the video for season 6, everybody can apply. But just be aware, if you got to be old enough to be able to commit, and you have to have a microphone, and you have to have Mumble, or if we use TeamSpeak or whatever, we always use free stuff, but you have to have that and the ability to use it. Here we are at challenge number 3, and I kind of gave a little nod to the TV show True Detectives. But this is Gizmo's house. Obviously, he's been banished to the Nether to live out his life down there. Very sad. So it is up for sale. If anyone wants to make an offer, I don't know what we should take if we should take it in diamonds or butt rocks just to make Gizmo feel bad.
Butt rock sounds good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's look around it. Obviously, you saw it in the video. I tried to show you everything that they were looking at, but the address wasn't super important, but it was used in the quiz. I think a big clue was above the door there. Doors were locked tight, never opened or closed. Lots of signs with just information that's useless. Table clean, TV turned off. I threw a lot of information at them just to see what they would process. There was a quiz question about the status of the sinks. The biggest clue in the game was the blood trail and then the sign out here that basically said broken glass on ground. So this was a very important, honestly, this is a very, very basic mystery. I actually have one of those old books from when I was a kid, and I still have it, called 2-Minute Mysteries. And one of the mysteries actually was this, where there was glass on the ground. It wasn't about butt rocks being stolen. That'd be kind of weird. But it was about glass on the outside. So that proved that the window was broken from the inside. So that was the big key. And then, I did do the blood trail. And what I wanted to portray here was the more frequent blood up above to kind of show you that this was the source of where the bleeding started. And then as your body heals, the bleeding slows down. So Giz was here. He jumped up when he had the idea of stealing the diamonds to buy butt rocks, hit his head, which started it bleeding. He came over here, grabbed the diamonds. He ran down the stairs, giddy with his idea. The bleeding's starting to slow down. He's kind of confused a little bit because his head hurts. He breaks the glass, jumps out, runs off, and hides the diamonds. Then he calls the mole, and the mole wasn't fooled. The mole is too smart for a simpleton like Gizmo. But I'm curious what you guys thought about how this challenge played out.
I really liked it. I think there should be more of these kind of challenges in the future.
Well, I always loved puzzles and detective mysteries, so when you showed me this challenge, I actually went around and looked for myself first after you explained me what happened. And just so everybody knows, I obviously got it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
All right, so here we are at Chow 4. Thanks for the memories. Now, this one was a pretty basic challenge that we've done in the past, but we kind of spiced it up a little bit here. I made the floor here, and I think I did like the stands generically, and then Kama came in and added some flair to it, and Kama made the sign behind it. I had never realized how close this challenge is. There's the mansion in the background. Depending on your view distances, you may or may not see it. So players, I don't know, we'll have to ask maybe in the reunion. They might have seen that sign in the air because you can make it out from there. But to do it a little differently this time, what I did was I wanted one player to be kind of the judge, in a sense, the person who had to be the level head or whatever to figure it all out, and then the players only having a finite amount of time to look at it. And I thought that would kind of spice it up and make it tough. But here you can see the pattern. This was me literally kind of just randomly throwing stuff down. I didn't try to do anything really creative with it. I just tried to mix it up. And I wanted to use some blocks that are similar to other blocks to possibly add confusion. But I like to, hear what you guys thought how this one played out.
Well, when Silicon was the level-headed person, he didn't ask the players what section they went to. I think that would have really helped if they would have talked a bit more with each other. But other than that, it's a good simple challenge.
Yeah, it's always about communication, especially in the memory game.
All right, so here is a sneak peek at one of our next challenges. What will it be? All right, so here we are in the player eliminated from episode 2. If you haven't watched episode 2, leave now. It's going to be a spoiler. So don't watch anymore. Go watch episode 2. But this is Retro's room, and there is a sign. DB, would you like to read that?
Okay. He went so quick, he left 0 memories. Love, the mole.
Wow, making fun of the thanks for the memories. Retro left no memories. Wow.
Okay, so now we come to the viewer voting results. Those are the results from episode 1, not this episode. And the results of episode 1, people think Silicon Sentry is the mole.
Ooh. I did Piper on that. That's what Piper used to do.
So now for the thing that everyone's been waiting for, the mole comment of the week, sung by Chewable Tablets.
It is the mole's comment of the week. Do.
This comment of the week is from BuDaBear, and his comment was, question, what kind of test do student moles like best? Answer, multiple choice.
Ho ho!
Very funny.
Ha ha ha.
So if you want to sing the mole comment of the week, just like Chewable Tablets did, which is an interesting name, go into the description of the video. You'll see a link where you can submit your basic song. So no copyright music, do it yourself. You can do a background music, like if you've got a guitar or a ukulele. I mean, I don't care. You don't have to. You can just sing it a cappella, but record it. You can make it a sound file. You can upload it to like SoundCloud or Dropbox and just post a link in the form you fill out. If you do put it on YouTube, make it an unlisted video, and then just send me a link to it that way also. But that is going to do it for Season 5, Episode 2 of Mole Confidential. If you guys want to say goodbye, we will head out and get ready Friday for the next episode of The Mole.
Bye.